everybody, welcome to the channel. It's Usernamekate here, and today I am riding Triumph's 2025 Speed Twin 1200. If you're somebody who prefers their modern retro to have a bit more of a sporty edge to it and some pretty dedicated and focused hardware, then my Speed Twin 1200 RS video is definitely something for you to watch. However, if you're somebody who feels that they don't need all the adjustability and the fancy schmancy elements of the RS, somebody who say appreciates a more leisurely ride, a relaxed ride, time to take in the scenery, absorb the sights, and potentially save a few quid in the process, then the Speed Twin 1200 is the one for you. So, if you're interested to find out how I get on this bike, then keep watching. We've just got on some nice roads. Look at these, oh yes. And we are riding the 2025 Triumph Speed Twin 1200. If you have watched my RS video, then you will find that I am repeating myself a little bit because obviously there are elements of the Speed Twin 1200 that are the same as the RS. But bear with me because this bike has a lot to offer. So first things first, with this bike we have a 1200cc parallel twin with a 270-degree crank, and of course with that crank layout. It sounds so good. The bike is up 5 brake horsepower on last year's model, 105 PS or 103.5 brake horsepower depending on what kind of metric you go off. Torque remains the same, 112 Newton meters at 4,250 RPM. Peak power is a bit higher this year than on the last one. Peak power comes in at 7,750 RPM, whereas it used to come in at 7,250 RPM. Today I am trusting the rubber because we have got Metzeler Sporttech M9 RRs. Last year's Speed Twin 1200, that came with Racetech RRs, which is arguably a bit wild for that kind of bike, especially for me on the British roads with the British rain and the British potholes. But yes, now the Racetech RRs are reserved for the RS. I mean, you could argue that the M9 RR, wow, look at this view, a goat! A goat! Oh, it's staring right at us. So the engine, the sound is gonna be pretty familiar to people that have ridden the predecessor or the 2024 Speed Twin 1200. Keep having to add 1200 because I keep forgetting there's a 900. I can't believe we saw goats. Wow! Look at this tunnel! Oh my days! Okay, so suspension on this. We have the 43mm upside down, non-adjustable Mazzocchi. Oh wow, would you look at this? Stunning. Beautiful. Oh yes, this is a gorgeous bike to do this on. The handling is so precise. I remember it not feeling as light to steer. I don't actually think they've done much to the geometry. Maybe it's just, you know, a different mindset, different mentality when you've got sweepy roads, you've got better tarmac. Just kind of all comes together as a riding experience. Maybe things that are more exacerbated or built up in your head in the UK don't feel so bad all of a sudden. But no, this does feel great on the handling front. So yeah, with the rear suspension, we've got a Usernamekate rear suspension unit that is just adjustable for preload like the last one. Wow, we are high up. Gorgeous. With regards to brakes, now on the 2024 Speed Twin 1200, we had Brembo M50 calipers, right? Now on this bike, we have Triumph's own branded, or badged, should I say, 4-piston calipers. They are actually J1 brakes, believe it or not. Wow. So I guess you could say that it's been kind of down-specced potentially on the brakes, but maybe it was just unnecessary on the other one, given the kind of type of bike it was. Now we've kind of got a bit more differentiation between the non-RS and the RS model, as the new RS has the latest and greatest Brembo M4.30 Stylema calipers. Wow, we are in the clouds! Our head is in the clouds! Literally, and not metaphorical for a change of me. Oh, this is stunning! This is stunning! I hope the wind noise isn't too bad without a buff. I'm fighting a raging cold today, so I haven't got a buff on, and I hope it's not making the sound quality too bad. Wow, look at this. Oh yes, flippity floppity, don't stop Eddie. Oh, third gear, lap that up. On the rear we've got a Nissan caliper, so it's not J1. J1, it sounds like should be like a Jason Derulo, like a J1. The start of a song? No, just me? Alright, I'll shut up. Drop it into second here. Have to use a bit of clutch action because the Speed Twin 1200, much like the earlier model, or the 2024 model, the one this is replacing, it doesn't have a quick shifter, and it doesn't have the provisions for a quick shifter due to where the foot pegs are. Now, because the RS has a different, it's kind of got rear sets on it compared to this, that's why that bike can accommodate a quick shifter, but this one can't. I should have started on price really, shouldn't I? So, the price of this bike, it starts from £12,495. That's if you get the aluminium silver. If you want to go for one of the more fancy colours like this, which is crystal white with sapphire black, or if you want to go carnival red with sapphire black, that's going to set you back an extra £300. I feel like the aluminium silver would be great for somebody that wants a more understated look, that perhaps doesn't like the 1200 paint so big on the fancy colour options. But I personally really like the white one, the one that I'm on. I always give everybody a dramatic wave. I think they think I'm on crack. I won't blame them. So with this bike we have, unlike the 2024 version, we have a rain mode and a road mode, but we don't have a sport mode. That, if you watched my other video, is reserved for the RS and the RS only. For this year we have a USB-C on the dash, which I very conveniently put my Peak Designs charger bulb mount on, so I can keep my phone charged whilst out on the road, so that's very handy. It's actually a good test for it. But yeah, it's great because my phone's charging away now. And it's good because I don't have to have a lead sticking out my phone to charge it. It's just doing its magic. Oh yes. Oh yes. What a beautiful, beautiful road. Now, one of my criticisms of the 2024 model was that I found the sport mode quite snatchy. Right? We don't have a sport mode anymore. We just have a road mode and a rain mode. I've got it in road mode today because I didn't want kind of the soggy throttle, pardon the pun, of the rain mode, and I also didn't want like mega intrusive traction control. Power would stay the same in rain mode, but I just want a more normal throttle response. That's what we've gone for. Drop it into second, slipper clutch be slipping. Oh yes. I love following Grace. She's so followable. She's like all my friends. I have the baddest friends. I'm so lucky. For the older generation watching this video, the baddest friends, it's a bit of an oxymoron. It means I have the best friends who are so slick with it. Oh yes. Oh, it flips over so beautifully. Oh, these are gorgeous. Second gear for this, don't know how tight it's gonna be. Oh, freaking in love. I'm actually in love. Oh, perfectly winding roads with delicious tarmac. Ugh. This is what we live for. This is what we live for. Brakes are brilliant on this, honestly, given the fact that we now have Triumph badged J1s. Juan be Juan in it. Honestly, I love road riding. I love it so much. And on this bike, oh man, I can understand why it's such a big seller for Triumph. Like it was first created, it first came to be in 1937. And, you know, given they've had so many years to get it as good as it is, like you would expect it to be as good as it is. Third gear. I was gonna drop but didn't. But I didn't need to, did I? We're alright. I'll always admit I am the opposite to my partner Mike. I love to be highly strung, highly stressed, in the low gears, ready to pounce. He's just a lazy boy. He likes to just chug along in the high gears. Economical AF. But I don't really buy a bike to watch fuel. What a little cute back road. What a nice tight little hairpin. Use a back brake to keep it nice and controlled. Oh yes. Alrighty, so we've just had a little coffee stop. And now we're back on the roads. So we're back on some beautiful roads. I've had to take my Knox jacket off because it was scorching. It doesn't help I've got a winter base layer on because apparently it was set to be quite cold in the morning, and to be honest, I was grateful for that base layer this morning. Got car coming down, probably just in time for our hairpin. Love that for us. Absolutely love it for us. But we got this because we can stay on our side of the road. Oh, it wasn't as sharp a hairpin as I was first envisaging. Okay, I take that back. It absolutely was. Just in the wrong place. Oh, this is gorgeous. Tank capacity remains unchanged, 14.6 litres. The weight of this bike again remains unchanged at 216 kilograms. And then the seat height is different. It has changed from the 2024. Instead of being 809mm in the seat height, it's now 805. Now, for those of you who are new to the channel and don't know this, for visual reference, I'm a 5'4" individual, or 162 centimetres, and I have a 29-inch inside leg measurement, which translates to 73.66 centimetres. And this is what it's like for me to sit on the Speed Twin 1200, non-RS version. So what do I think about the riding position of this bike? Well, in theory, we are a lot less sporty than the RS. But I have to say, I do still think the body, the top half might not feel like mega sporty, but I do feel like the pegs are further back than I would have expected for a Speed Twin Roadster. Like, I put my feet back and I was like, oh gosh, yeah, my knees are, it's quite a bend in those bad boys. So, as mentioned before, we have new charging facilities with this. Now, what is that housing, that USB-C housing attached to? A brand new and seemingly very controversial dash. So, we have a new dash for 2025. Long gone are the old twin clocks, which arguably a lot of you guys said really enhanced the retro look, like made it like a proper retro. Whereas now we've gone a bit modern and a bit funky and fancy with a circular dash. If it had a big KTM style television TFT dash on this, people would definitely be asking the design team, what were you thinking, what's gone wrong, wow, look at this hairpin. But we do in fact have a circular dash, which is quite nice. Camber there, that's not nice. We've got a circular dash, and we've got a lot more functionality than the last one. For a start, it's much clearer to read the speed. The other one, as beautiful and classic as it looked, it wasn't the best for being able to look down and instantly identify how fast you were going. With this, it's very obvious because it's quite big. Yeah. Another thing this bike has is LED lights all round, and what elegant and pretty LED lights they are. Also, a massive change for this bike this year is we can potentially have cruise control. It's an option. So although it doesn't come with the bike, if you want it, I do believe it's like a £310 option. That is probably before any labour costs are involved. So I guess one of the things that you guys are going to ask is, Kate, what's the suspension like? And I always find it difficult to share my opinion on it because I know that it won't be relevant to so many of you watching this channel. I know it will be relevant to some people, and that's why I do share it, but for the vast majority of you, I'm sure you can ignore this because I'm 9 stone at the moment. But the suspension on this is great. Maybe you'd have to ask or find a channel of somebody who's a bit weightier to see how they get on with it and like how it's damped and stuff like that. But for me, it's just lovely road going suspension. In short, to dumb it down, to summarise it, this non-adjustable suspension on the Speed Twin 1200 is more than adequate for me. It's comfy, yet firm enough so that it can absorb the bumps, but it's not too jarring. The handling of it is beautiful. The engine's feeling pretty warm beneath my legs. I mean, it is 20 degrees and it was a bit hotter earlier on, but I can definitely feel that up by my knees, the heat radiating out. All in all, really have enjoyed riding the Speed Twin 1200. I'm going to take you now to my outro, so thank you for watching the ride bit. Goodbye. Right everybody, as you can see the sun is setting and I have just got back in from riding the Speed Twin 1200. Now this bike has surprised me so much. The ride quality of it is absolutely awesome. I don't know whether it's because I'm used to riding in the UK with the crummy potholes and all the crazy drivers, but on the smooth tarmac today, this bike has come into its own. Now, I'm very conscious that this is a short YouTube video, so we're going to do some quick fire pros and cons. A pro of this bike, as I was just saying, is the ride experience. Just because it's not the RS variant, don't be fooled and think it can't get a hustle on, because it can move, it can shift, as we found out today. Now, arguably the RS does come into its own a bit more when you are working it a bit harder, but that's not to say this thing is incompetent at doing that. It really handles, it's really fun, you have all the faith in the world in it, and it's just an awesome bike. I've really enjoyed just riding the windy, twisty roads today, as you'll have seen in the ride footage. Another big pro is the customization of this bike, the stuff that you can do to it. Again, this is a bit of a crossover pro because it applies to the RS as well, but you can put clip-ons on this, you can put a different bullet seat on this with a seat cowl that looks very cafe racer-ish, and now that the Thruxton is discontinued and you can't buy a new one anymore, I kind of feel like this bike in that trim, specifically the RS, is going to be the closest you're going to get to being able to get that Thruxton again, unless you buy a used one. Another pro, which I know a lot of my viewers will be very happy about, is the option of cruise control. That is a massive win for Triumph, in my opinion. It's just so handy. I mean, I know this bike isn't a tourer or a sports tourer, it is a classic retro, but sometimes you just still want to go on adventures and cruise around. So yeah, the cruise control is a really handy addition to have it as an optional extra. Finally, another pro is the build quality. I do feel like there are not many manufacturers out there that do take the time and attention to make these bikes what they are. They're just quality, and yeah, I do feel like Triumph is sometimes a little bit of a cut above the rest in terms of quality. Just the way the engine looks, the thoughts behind the, you know, brushed fins, and we've got these beautiful bar and mirrors, everything feels good, it looks quality, and I can't really find a bit that looks a bit flimsy or a bit cheap on it. You walk around this bike and it just looks well put together, well thought out, no expense spared. Okay, moving on to the cons. So I know this is a bit of a point of contention with a lot of you. You are mad that Triumph has gone down the route of a circular round LCD and TFT dash. You guys really liked the twin analog dash, and it is pretty. I'll insert some footage from when I've ridden that bike in the past. It is very in keeping with the modern classic or modern retro theme, and yeah, it's angered a lot of you, but I do understand why they've done it, because it's a really clear dash to read and understand when you're on the move, and that's really important because you're not squinting at it like you were with the twin clocks trying to figure out what miles an hour you're at. You just know what gear you're in because you've got a gear indicator now, and yeah, it's just clear as day, and it's really nice and functional. Could they have done a TFT or LCD kind of twin dash? Maybe, but
something doesn't really sit right having like a TFT twin clock. So I think this is the best option that they could have gone for, with being circular and not like a big TV screen. So yeah, I'm not personally offended by it. You can't retrofit the old screen onto this, and I think the people that don't like it will probably adjust to it and get used to it as they ride it. But on the road, what I care about is its function, and it's been functional. Maybe another con is the loss of the sport mode, but of course there's got to be some sacrifices when you're adding an RS to the range. You've got to have some points of differentiation, and to be honest, riding this in road mode has been great, but there is something about the crispness of the throttle on the RS that I've experienced today, which would be nice if it was on this. However, the previous Speed Twin, the 2024 one, in sport mode, I found the throttle quite snatchy and quite annoying, and I haven't found a snatchy throttle at all in the road mode, and on the RS I didn't find it snatchy there. Another thing I don't particularly like, I don't like the position of the side stand. It's right under the peg, and when you've got big clodhopper boots like this, it's really hard to get your heel on and kind of kick it out. So yeah, that is a bit of a slight annoyance, but it was the same on the Speed Twin 1200, the 2024 one, just a bit annoying. And finally, I guess another con would be that I personally find the foot pegs really slippy. I don't know if anybody else suffers with this, as no one's really mentioned it, so it might just be my Alpine Star boots. But I'm trying to like hang off and look all cool in the B-roll footage, and sometimes I would feel my feet like kind of slip off the peg, and I'm trying to remember whether I thought that about the 2024 Speed Twin. I can't quite remember without looking back at old footage, but yeah, I definitely noticed it on this trip, and it was just a little bit annoying, have to like consciously think about it. But overall, what a fantastic bike. I have really enjoyed it. I think anybody that buys this bike will not be disappointed, because it's just a hoot to ride. The engine's strong, you know, 100 brake horsepower, there or thereabouts, is a great amount of power for anybody, especially like I say on our UK roads, because we don't often have great chances to ride nice flowy tarmac. It's usually all broken up and stuff like that, and it's usually raining. So yeah, I think the addition of the cornering, traction control and ABS is great, because it's just peace of mind, but it doesn't inhibit the riding experience, it doesn't hinder it, it doesn't feel like it's too intrusive, but it is nice just to know that it's there. Well everybody, I hope you have enjoyed the review of Triumph's Speed Twin 1200. I've really enjoyed riding it around, I'm not going to lie, it's been a fantastic day. Guys, what do you think about this bike? What things has this bike got that you're happy with? What things do you think Triumph missed out on? Please let me know in the comments, sound off, and I'll check them out and see if I agree with you. Alright guys and girls, until the next time, take care, ride safe, and I'll see you on the next vlog. Bye! Do you wanna?
Goodbye. Thank you.
Gracias! Just a bit annoying. Just like the Audi with no social awareness. We love the taxis, they don't give a damn, no. They don't give a damn about us, they don't give a damn, no.
I don't have the capacity, big man. What we do with this? How gorgeous was that? Huh?